Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our first hackathon community call of 2025. My name is Iva, and I'm thrilled to have you all here today for this special edition of our community call. We got some incredible pitches lined up from our Battle Hackathon participants, and I can't wait to dive in and see the amazing projects they built in using Midnight. Just before we start, I have a couple of exciting updates to share. First things first, community calls will now happen twice a month. So mark your calendars, join our community to find out first. And of course, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and join our Telegram announcement channel. And another update that this call is now being streamed live on YouTube, Twitter, and Telegram. So feel free to share the public link with your friends and your communities. Now, let's talk about what we are all here today, the Battle Hackathon. So this challenge was all about showcasing innovation, creativity, and technical skills by building decentralized naval strategy games. Participants tackled complex problems like using zero knowledge proofs to secure hidden information, creating multiplayer frameworks, and enforcing fair gameplay, all on Midnight Network. It's not a small feat, and I want to give a massive shout out to all our participants and the team itself and the community because they've all been very helpful, helped our participants. So it will not happen without them. So yeah, now to give you an idea of how the judging works and what's at stake, I will hand it over to Ahmed, who will walk us through the judging process and share the prizes our top teams will be competing for. Ahmed, over to you.
Thank you, Everest. Hello, everyone. Really excited for you all to show your case, your presentations, and I'll be going over the rules briefly about what you guys were submitted. So obviously, Midnight is a ZK blockchain, and we want to have ZK submissions. So the rules of the participant are as follows. One, you must have used the Lace wallet. You had to use Midnight, and in particular Compact, to generate zero-knowledge proofs for where the ship is located on the board on the X and Y axis without giving away the entirety of the chess position. All grids must be 10 by 10, so 10 y-axis, 10 on the x-axis. So that way, if someone tried to present a smaller game, it wouldn't have been fair. There are 5 boats on the grid at any one time. Once those plates are placed either horizontally or vertically, they cannot be moved. The other rule as well was the players must take turns. So it's a player-based, turn-based game. So one player does give coordinates, you verify it, has a hit, has a not, then on to the next one. Once once a ship has been destroyed, so all the coordinates have been given, you must give some sort of prompt to the player that the ship has been destroyed, and the player who has correctly guessed all the opposing positions' boats wins the game. So those were the rules. The prizes were as follows: first prize wins $4,000 in ADA, second prize wins $2,000 in ADA, and third place wins $1,000 in ADA. And those are paid at the US dollar at the time of payout. So don't try and game the system by telling us to wait and hodl for you. That's your job, okay?
Awesome.
So with that being said, I'll hand that over to Everest. And then
awesome. Well, definitely awesome prizes, and thank you, Ahmed, very much. Now, I'd just like to let's take a moment to meet our amazing panel of judges. So we have myself, Ivarus. I'm a community moderator here at Midnight. We have Ahmed, Kevin, Lauren, Ron, and Claude. So please just give us for those who might not aware of you guys or may forget who you are today, can you just few couple introductions from your side?
Sure. So I would love also to jump in before we do that to talk about the criteria that all of the judges are going to use today to evaluate, because I think that transparency is really important, especially for folks who are in the audience and considering participating in future hackathons. And we evaluate things based off of 4 criteria, which are technology, innovation, completion, and documentation. So the technology being the first, we're asking the questions of, did you utilize Midnight technology accurately while tackling this challenging technical problem? Are you employing advanced programming techniques or integrating multiple components? Then within innovation, we're wondering and considering, is it creative of an entry? Does the solution introduce new ideas, methods, or approaches to solve the problem? Also, to what extent does the entry push the boundaries of current technologies or practices? And we want to see originality, a fresh perspective, if you will. Then we have completion. To what extent, does the team deliver a functional solution within the time frame that we've given everyone? Also wondering, does the project achieve the intended goals, of course, and also demonstrate that very cohesive implementation and execute and deliver a finished product, essentially. Then lastly, documentation. Is the team able to clearly explain the project's purpose and feature all of the functionality? Are you able to include all necessary components and maybe a project overview, installation and setup instructions, a description of the key technologies that they used, and also user guidance? So that's the criteria the judges will be looking for. And yes, we have 4 esteemed judges today from variety of our different teams at Midnight. So I will pop it to Ahmed. Yeah, go ahead. You introduce yourself. You've spoken already, but remind everyone who you are and what you do here.
Thank you, Lauren. For those who aren't sick of me in community calls, my name is Ahmed Ahmadi. I am a DevRel engineer at Midnight. I work alongside Claude and Lauren in the DevRel relations team. I'll hand over to my fellow team member, Claude.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So I'm Claude. I also work in the DevRel as a DevRel engineer. So I've already participated in a hackathon on Midnight last year in Buenos Aires. So maybe some of you are already familiar with me. And otherwise, I'm looking forward to seeing all the projects that you're going to present today. Let's continue with Kevin.
Thank you. I'm Kevin. I work as an architect on Midnight, and I'm primarily responsible for the design and implementation of the Compact contract language, and also the dev tooling around Compact. And Ron, I guess you're next.
Thank you, Kevin. So I'm Ron Gourlavi. I'm the head of solution here at Midnight. I'm super excited to be here today to be judged for this hackathon. In the past 7 months that I'm with Midnight, I met a lot of partners and clients that are interested in working with Midnight because of the solve the problem that only Midnight can solve. So I'm very excited to see what you are going to present today and how you demonstrate the privacy feature and bring them to life. So good luck to everyone and show us what you got.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Just before we're going to start inviting our first teams, I just would like to explain a bit of the process. So we have 4 teams today that will present their projects. Each team will have 10 minutes to present the projects and answer all the judge questions. And if you guys are watching and you would like to ask any questions for certain participants or projects, please don't be shy. Ask your questions, and we might pick up 1 or 2 couple of questions where the team will be able to answer you directly. And yeah, after that, just without further ado, I would like to invite our first team, Brick Towers, which is Sergey and Imants. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Very good. Excited.
Yes,
Right.
very excited.
Cool. So when you are ready.
Hello, everyone. I'm Imants, and I welcome you to the Sea Battle by Brick Towers. Brick Towers is a startup based in Crypto Valley, Switzerland, with expertise in software and financial engineering. Currently, we're working on Herbal, our vision for blockchain-based, goal-oriented savings solution that also preserves privacy. For Hackathon, our team consists of Sergey, me, and Uldis. Sergey focused on the application side, Uldis tweaked the UI, while I was handling the infrastructure. The fun part was late night discussions on the contract design, trying to identify the flaws and vulnerabilities. We are excited to present you the Sea Battle with a twist. The game is fully playable and deployed on seabattle.midnight.solutions. All you need is a Chrome browser and a Midnight Lace wallet. If you don't have your own proof server yet, just read the instructions on the website. We provide one for you if you need it. Just please go and try it out. The twist is that each player commits 100 shielded BTC when joining the game, and the winner receives a total of 200 discreetly in their wallet at the end of the game. Let's dive in.
Let's have a look together to this great gaming experience.
Sea of code, we sail so bold, brick towers stand in the night. Battleships and bites we're told, fight on with all our might. Burning midnight oil we toil, creaking decks and janky code. The breakers crash, they never spoil our marathon, a heavy load. Evil lads, let's debug that stack in the night where battles rage. Sail through syntax errors back to dawn, we'll turn the page. With destroyers trailing on our wake and servers groaning loud. In the dark we never break, hackers standing proud. We write our scripts like sailors chant in the fog of errors deep. Hunting bugs we storm and rant, no time for sleep we keep. Evil lads, let's debug that stack in the night where battles rage. Sail through syntax errors back to dawn, we'll turn the page.
Here's how it works. Every turn has two steps. First, the player validates their opponent's shot. Then, a proof of fair play is created and submitted to the blockchain in a single transaction. The game is powered by a state machine that keeps track of turns, player actions, and the overall game state. We spend a lot of time optimizing the underlying data structures to make the game secure and run smoothly. Everything is validated, from ship placement to hits, sinks, and the final winner. To make the game efficient, we also optimize the way the ledger processes data to keep proof sizes small and improve performance. There is also an alternative contract version of the Eastern variant of the game, featuring an agency check and a different set of ships. We also added features to make the game smoother and more user-friendly. If you need BTC to play, there is a faucet directly on the game page. Firebase helps you find opponents quickly, and as an indexer, keeps all Brick Towers games synced in real time. Usability and resilience were a big focus to us. Players get clear feedback when connecting their wallet and step-by-step updates during transactions. If something goes wrong, like losing your connection or refreshing the browser, you can easily recover your game state without losing progress. To make sure everything runs reliably, we built and tested the contract logic and API interactions extensively using unit integration and property-based testing. Building a private and secure game like Sea Battle wasn't without its challenges. At first, too much information was stored on-chain, which made it possible to guess ship positions. We redesigned the model to ensure players' secrets stayed private, but that also made tracking sunk ships more complex. To address this, we followed a store and validate approach. The contract updates each player's private state during the game, hashing out on the ledger for security. When it's time for the next move, the contract verifies the state hasn't been tampered with. This ensures privacy and fairness without revealing sensitive details. However, there are still some limitations. Compact doesn't have a time concept, so there is no way to penalize players who intentionally stole the game. In our search for causes of the slowness, we learned to run our own full archive node and indexer. However, we had to conclude that it's beyond our powers to fix the node. We are looking forward to Midnight Team releasing a new node version so everyone can enjoy a smoother game. If we take home a prize in this hackathon and you are the first to uncover a vulnerability in our compact contract, something that gives the player an unfair edge, guess what? Half of that prize is yours. Because if the game isn't fair, we don't deserve the win. Let's make it right together. Thanks, and enjoy playing Sea Battle. Check out our GitHub for more details about the contract and features.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Sergey, Iman. And the community, for those who are watching, please also make sure virtual claps for these guys. Well done. And I will pass it over to judges. Do you guys, do you have any questions? Would you like to ask Sergey and Iman?
Sure, I can go first. My question, really good work. Looks awesome. What was the most difficult part? It said you had a few challenges there. Obviously, without the concept of time, you had a challenge, and there was a node issue. But aside from the things that you couldn't control, the things that you were in control of, what was the most difficult part?
Imans, you want to say something?
Yeah, a little bit like change, more like in this from like classic functional programming more to the edge oriented and considering all the limitations which that brings also in the language, because from 20 years ago where you were running for every bit and so on. So that was kind of fun challenge in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we had to fight with quite some challenges like, I don't know, compiler bugs or things which we didn't understand. It was quite challenging to actually get something, like to find a proper solution. But I think in the end, we are very happy with the result. I think it was really good.
Definitely, it looked amazing. Well done.
Yeah, I'll go next. So thank you so much for the presentation. It was really fun to watch. You talked about optimization for size, performance. Did you consider any optimization for cost, minimizing transaction fees for the users?
Yeah, you want to go, Sergey?
Yeah, I mean, we actually did quite a lot of iterations, trying different data structure, looking at how would that impact the cost of the, this time, the compiler time, the how much time it takes actually, what's the size of the verifier file, which is also kind of important because you have to download it and upload it over the network. And as you saw, we have our actually working game, which is deployed, and it actually works. We also faced some challenges like the proof server. It works on the HTTP layer 1, HTTP 1, so you can't actually stream that, and then you can't make the proof server scalable so that it's using the streaming like HTTP 2. Lots of things which we observed where things could be improved, but in the end, I think the technology is getting there. We really like it.
Thank you.
I have more of the fun question. So obviously, while you guys build it, so you tested the game between yourself, correct? So who has the most wins against from you? Is it Sergey or Imans?
That's me for sure. I mean, I was doing the video as well, so I had to play it to the end. So you can imagine it takes time.
Cool. So everyone now who is able to scan the barcode will be able to play the game, correct?
Yes, exactly. You need to have the Lace wallet. You don't need a proof server because we run one. Mm-hmm. We also run our indexer, our node as well. I mean, it's also part of the configuration. You basically just need a Midnight Lace wallet installed. That's the more technical thing which you have to do. Other than that, it just works. Well, additionally, on top of it, the network, I mean, the test net, as we said, it's, could be improved in terms of the time. I mean, there's this known issue which will be solved very soon, and we are looking forward.
Awesome. Community, also, if you, the ones that were watching, please make sure to ask questions in the chat. Yeah. Claude, do you have any questions? Kevin?
No question.
What I'm sort of curious about is what feature do you feel is most missing from either the Compact programming language or from the dev tooling that we're providing around Compact that would have made this easier?
So examples on interacting with the coin, that would be very helpful for the community. I mean, we actually get there. So you can see that we have actually minted a token, and we were able to actually manipulate that. So that's one thing. And definitely vector operations, basically all the features around vectors and how to manipulate them. Well, if you look at the code, you will see that we had to write some basic things which could have been part of the standard library, like for all calls or contains call, like these kind of things. So yeah, definitely vectors.
Yes, and then we mentioned in the presentation as well that the notion of time accessible through Compact, yeah, you could get a block number or real world time, something to what's going on in the world.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's excellent feedback.
Actually, there is one question from the community, from Edward. Who came up with the lyrics for the song?
The computer.
The computer. Okay, understood. Thank you, guys. Well, if there is no other questions, I would like to thank you guys very much. Definitely hard work you've done so far, so well done. I can't wait to see what we're going to build next. I'm expecting next time we're going to build some kind of tournament in Discord or maybe next community call. We're going to play together, build some leaderboards, grab some points. Great work, guys. Thank you very much for your hard work and presenting your idea. Yes.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Just give me 1 second. Right. Moving forward. Also, guys, just want to say again for the community, if you have any questions, please make sure you let us know down in the chat. Always, and also congratulate the teams together. That's what community is here for. If you'll be rewatching this video on YouTube or Twitter, please make sure to join Discord because all our presenters are in the Discord community. So if you have additional comments or suggestions or even the questions, please join it, tag them, ask them, and let's go. Just gonna remove this one. So our next participant called Mediocre Hacker. Oops, Hello.
Hey guys.
How are you doing today?
Everybody. Yeah, I'm good.
Happy Friday. So I'm just going to enable your screen. So whenever you are ready, please introduce yourself and start the presentation.
Yeah, let me just wait my presentation. Hi, I'm Mediocre Hacker. I have some experience in web development and a big passion for blockchain and decentralization. One challenge I see with blockchain is that everything is so transparent. Most people prefer to keep some information like personal details private. Last year I learned about zero-knowledge proofs and I thought it was a really cool idea. And here's an example how it can be used in game industry. I built a classic battleship game on the Midnight network. You can visit the official Midnight website, midnight.network, to learn more about it. Let's see how the DApp works. The first step, we need to connect our wallet. Let's click a button. Authorize the DApp. The next step, we need to create the game and deploy the contract. It will cost 2.7 dust coins. Let me open the console. So the contract is deploying now, and while it's deploying, let's imagine how we would build a multiple player blockchain game without using Midnight Network. We probably would start from building front end, and it has like 2 boards. On the left side, the user board, and on the right side, the opponent's board. When player 1 takes the shot, the player 2 needs to respond, was it a hit or a miss? And here is a problem. Player 1 doesn't trust player 2 to answer honestly. Usually developers solve that kind of problem by creating the backend service to handle responses for player 1 and player 2. But what happens if player 1 doesn't trust the developer either? In that case, we usually rely on a trusted third party like the government or another authority to monitor the developer's work. But if the service gets hacked or the third party is corrupt, yeah, it feels like an impossible problem until now. And Midnight and Zero Knowledge Proof can help to build an application without relying on third-party servers. And while the contract is deploying, I will pause a video and come back when it's deployed, and I will explain how the smart contract works. Hey, I'm back. The smart contract was deployed, and I joined the game as a second player in the right browser window with another lace wallet. And here is the smart contract address, and you can see they're both the same. With Midnight, we can use smart contracts with 2 states, private and public. In this case, the ship positions on the board are stored in a private state, while the shots taken are stored in a public state. The smart contract has 2 functions, shoot and check. So the shoot function stores player's 1 shot position in the public state, and the player 2 calls the check functions, which runs on player's 2 local machine and updates the public state with the result hit or miss. This process repeats until 1 player wins. Currently this part is still work in progress. And let me share my experience developing on Midnight. So to build a DApp on Midnight is a lot of fun, and the documentation is pretty clear and straightforward. And most importantly, now I know it's possible to build a truly trustworthy DApp without relying on a central authority. Yeah, but it does require more effort and experience. Thank you very much. Bye. So yeah, as I said, it's like I still couldn't figure it out how to check who won the game and how to prove that the player 2 is actually won, not the player 1. So that's challenge. It's still unsolvable for me. But yeah, other than that, it's like development is pretty nice. I mean, it's like I had a lot of fun with Midnight, with compact language. And I don't know, have you seen like that? I don't use position 1, like X and Y, like 1, 1. I just use parent algorithm, and then I can represent the board just with integer. And this is why I don't have all that complexity with vectors. But the reason is like because I start with vectors and all that stuff. It was like too much for me, and then I just try to simplify the board itself. And when it's an array of integer, then it's easier to work.
So just to confirm, what you send is not a x or y axis coordinate. You just send the integer, and that integer represents where it would be if it were a coordinate, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's if I share link here, I'm not sure, but how does it work? But they're basically like some algorithms that you can represent x, y just with one integer.
Okay.
And there is like multiple of them, and I'm using. I couldn't pronounce it. It's like Sudzik, Szudzik, and the benefit of it that it. So if you have 10 by 10 and you have basically 100 numbers, because there is like other algorithms, but they go like not from. Then you don't have like you won't have not 100 but 200 or 300, but it's still like the representation 1-to-1. So it's always like 2 will be represented by one integer.
Okay, that's interesting. Using your approach, would there be a way for me to send the entire state of the board right at the start and then verify each turn that the boat is there? Because if I were to use an array, I can send the entire array, and then alongside it, I can send a bunch of coordinates that say, these are the boats right at the start. That way I've done the most expensive cost once at the start, and I can verify against the opponent's coordinates if the ship is there. Using your approach, can you do something similar?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
If I understand correctly, but yes, sounds like that. But
Okay,
it's
interesting. So,
yeah. In the source code.
So that's really cool. I'll look at that just because I'm curious to see how that would work. I'll look at that when I get a chance. Thank you. Yeah, that's another thing as well. Definitely not mediocre. You need to change your name.
No, it's more like I picked that name like 10 or like 15 years ago when I started to learn all that hardcore stuff like about functional programming language, etc. And then I just keep going like when I reach a real hacker, and then I will change my name. So I need like probably 10, 15 years more, I think. But yeah, thank you very much. If there is any more questions.
I'll just call you Mr. Hacker. My question is going to be this, basically the same for all the participants. What is the feature in the compact programming language or the dev tooling that we provide around compact that would have made this easier for you?
So for me, if the source code of compact will be open source, it helps a lot. Because what happens, like to me, I read the documentation is pretty nice. But for instance, when I check how to create the contract, and there is multiple methods, like for instance, you can get like observable, but you can also like get just a state of contract. And I didn't know about that. And how I figured out, I started to use, so basically I go like to types, and then I check in types, and there is the documentation. But it's not really, I think I figured out how to check that only like 2 weeks ago. Before that, I was kind of blindly like looking for autocomplete. But when I understand, oh, it's actually in the source code in my node module, so I can go there and take a look. And there is like everything typed, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's a bit late for me. But next time I know the tricks. So types helps a lot.
Thanks for that feedback.
There is one question in the community from John or Johnny. Sorry. What was the most fun for you in the build?
I guess when the server was crashed, I mean, and I couldn't reach it. But yeah, that's probably like. But then thanks for like postpone the hackathon deadline. So because I was like nervous, I think just before New Year or something like that, and I was like, oh, it doesn't work. Why it's like that? But yeah, it was fun.
Well, most importantly, you have fun, so that's what makes it worthwhile, and trying your best to build a great project, or in this case, a great game. So, thank you very much, Mediocre.
Thank
Make sure
thank you
to
very
join.
much. For just to say thank you for sharing your experience and what you've learned from this experience. It's great to hear.
Thank you very much. And this is like a good, also like how to say, it's a good start for learning zero knowledge proof in general, because this is my first time when I start to learn. I also checked some courses online about zero knowledge proof, like academical one, but it's too complex. And this is what I'm happy that Midnight here, so we can use it without that deep understanding of all the zero knowledge proof technology, etc. So thank you guys. Thank you for Midnight. Thank you for Compiler. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great evening and have a great weekend.
Sure.
Right. What you guys think? Let us know in the chats. Again, I'm accepting lots more questions. Again, well done, Mediocre and community. If you're rewatching this, please join Discord if you want to ask me your questions or even a help. So if anyone wants to help other teams to progress with the code, so even build a full-fledged game, join our community, reach out to the teams, and yeah. So are we going next? So next on our list is Eric from Ada Labs. Eric, hello. How are you?
Hello, guys. Really happy to be here. What's up, Claude? I met Claude in Argentina. So I prepare a video for you guys explaining all the adventure that I have developed in this app. So I'm gonna show it to you. Hello, Midnight community. This is Eric. I'm representing Ada Labs, which is a company that focuses on building blockchain applications and empowers businesses to use this cutting-edge technology to improve their operating procedures. And also we collaborate with the ecosystem by providing open source toolings and education. Let me introduce the team members from Ada Labs that participated during this hackathon. It was Eric Romero, myself, and Taina Books. I was responsible for creating the smart contracts, optimizing them, creating the interactions with the different providers, and following good practices. China Books was responsible for the product design and the web development. We are both developers, and we have been engaged in the Midnight community since the beginning. We have participated during the first hackathon, which we won the first place. Then we participated during another hackathon in Argentina, and we are happy to participate during this second hackathon. Let's get into the details of the scope of this second hackathon. Developers were tasked to recreate this game, which is called Battleship. As you can see in the photo, and I guess everybody has played this game before, each player has to position 5 ships, and each player takes turns trying to guess the opponent's boat's position. This game is really interesting to recreate using Midnight technology because it involves private information and public information. I'm going to provide a big overview how this application was built using Midnight technology. I'd like to separate all features within Midnight in 3 big chunks. One I call compact, the other providers, and then an external DB. Compact, it's all related to rules, where you create the interactions, between private and public information, and you create CK proof for that. Then you have providers, which is ways to interact with the different Midnight instances. And some applications also involve an external database for improving user experience. One architectural design that we have considered for this application was not to use external databases. So we needed to represent all game states within the compact contract itself. Regarding the private part, we're using commitments to check the validity of the private information. So at the beginning of each game, each player decides its gameplay. And once they are ready, they commit the gameplay as a hash into the ledger. So in that way, we have a way to confirm if the initial gameplay hasn't been altered. The way we create the CK proof needed to interact with the public ledger using the private information is by building circuits. These circuits are implemented within the compact language and are built during compilation. For our contract, we have included 4 circuits: join the game, commit a grid, start game, and make a move. We have created those circuits, but what those circuits actually do is they perform an action by sending zero-knowledge proof. Those proof, they check assertions. And I have listed all the assertions that we have implemented within our contract to make sure the game is played fairly. Now that we have already taken a look at the architectural design and some trade-offs during the implementation of the contract, let's discuss now how those features were actually implemented during development. I have divided the development process in 4 phases. Phase 1, it's all related to contract logic and testing. Phase 2, it's related to local network testing and using headless wallets and do the test with the local network. Phase 3 is related to creating providers and hooks for React integrations. And phase 4 is actually putting all this together and implemented in a web application. And we have considered some nice features as real-time, React DND, and open source docs. Before going to the game demonstration, let's discuss some future enhancements that are beyond the scope of this hackathon, but would be nice to brainstorm and put it on the table. We could include betting mechanics, either with unshielded and shielded tokens. We can also include time mechanics, develop compact best practices and optimizations, which is a really nice feature for developers to have. Then implement tab upgradabilities into platforms for multi-sig. We're planning to do this within a mesh applications for developers in Midnight to upgrade contracts easily. We're planning to do video tutorials in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and create classes and hooks imported by NPM so developers can start developing easily within Midnight, and also create a playground where developers can play around without installing anything on their computers. Well, thank you. Hope you enjoy it.
Judges, any questions?
I've got my usual one. This was great, Eric. Thank you very much. What feature or thing could we add to the Compact programming language or the dev tooling around Compact that would have made this easier for you?
Okay, Kevin. Well, that's actually a really nice question. And that's why I divided the development in 4 phases, right? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. I remember my first hackathon that I actually started developing directly in the web development phase and took a lot of time. So following this process kind of helps accelerate the process and see what's going on before taking too much time. So one feature that I encountered that took a lot of time for me actually, because I had to go back from phase 3 back to phase 1. It's when phase 1, that is contract logic and testing, passes, then I go to phase 2 and then things start not working. It's because in phase 1 I just test the contract logic where you have some values regarding the contract, the circuit sizes, right, and the proofs. Then in phase 2, when you start using actually a local network, some things might break or some circuits actually overpass the size of the transaction. That would be awesome if during phase 1, we could actually relate if the circuit actually is gonna fail in phase 2. So at the contract logic, we already know, okay, that circuit, it's way too big, it's not gonna work, right? I tried to find a relationship between those K values, but actually it's not a linear relationship, meaning some circuits that the K value is big actually pass the transaction size, and others which has a smaller K value didn't pass. So it was kind of confusing. But at the end, I had to do the logic part, then go to phase 2 and test if actually it passes. But it would be nice to have all integrated in phase 1, and developers have means to know if the transaction size for those circuits actually going to work.
Thank you. That's great feedback. Thanks a lot.
But how do you detect when ship is actually fully sunk?
Okay, that's in the architectural part, and that's something really nice that we consider when we decided what actually goes, for example, off-chain in the database, what actually goes on the contract, and what actually can be contract blocked or UI blocked, right? For those critical parts, we consider the contract blocking, right? The UI blocking, we use it for monitoring each both sizes, right? Since it doesn't affect the actual result. I mean, no players can say I have won without actually hitting the boats, right? So we decided to put it in the UI part, but also we can do it in the contract side. So that's an architectural kind of trade-offs that we have considered. So in the application that we have built, 80% that are the critical parts, we put it on the contract. And then for user experience, we have considered some UI blockings. So users, they don't have actually ways to do something on the UI part. But let's say, for example, a hacker that wants to cheat the game, actually create a transaction directly into the contract. It wouldn't alter the game results in that sense, right?
Mm. Awesome. And the biggest question, did you have fun?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun because actually it was the first time that I've created a game, right? I'm more like into real application for businesses. So building this game, it was really fun for everybody because it was a new experience. And actually to start creating this process of how create contracts in the best way. And then came up a lot of ideas like best practices in contract, right? You can do one thing in different ways. Actually, I started doing using counters for passing one state to another, and then actually encountered that problem that I was mentioning to Kevin. that the transaction size was too big. So we have to go back, and all this process is really fun when we have time to develop. So developers had 1 month. So actually, it was a lot of fun, and be able to play the game at the end. It's refreshing.
Claude, what do you think? Do you have any questions, comments, or asking for feedback?
No question. Yeah, the UI is very nice. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to having a look at the code. I want to see how you manage to do all of that, and I think that's going to be a great learning opportunity for us to check the code and see what's working, what's not working, and what we should improve.
Okay.
If I can add, I just like to give you feedback that I like the way you implemented a full cycle for the product development. I love the stages and the validation of each one, the testing capabilities that you add in there, and I think it also shows in the result that it's a good way to build the product. So thank you for that.
Agree.
Thank you, Ron. Well, actually, that's a good point. We have integrated the application into Next.js web framework, and we have tested that it works for Pages routers and for app routers, which is the new framework that Next.js uses. So I've seen some blockchain libraries that doesn't work with app router, but I want to confirm that Midnight.js works really nice with app router.
Thank you.
All done. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. That was great. Thank you guys for great questions. And for those, again, if you're missing out, don't forget that we have all these awesome community members in our Discord server. So pop up, say hello, and if you want to play the game together or ask any additional questions or help, please make sure to join our communities or in the comments below again. And let's go to our last participant, which is Edx. Edx, hello.
Hello, everybody. We're also excited to share our solution with you guys.
Awesome. How are you doing today? I know it's you're going to be speaking, but I'm pretty sure there's other team members next to you, correct?
Yes, we are actually 3 people in the same room.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Okay, so I will let you share the screen, and whenever you're ready, introduce yourself and share your idea.
Hello, and welcome to our presentation. We are Motrot, Dejan, and Edx, a system engineer and 2 software engineers who wanted to try zero-knowledge technology for the first time. And we are going to present you our solution for the Midnight Sea Battle Hackathon. First, let's dive into the architecture. Our web application interacts with the Midnight Lace wallet through the browser extension, the Midnight Proof server that is also running on the player's computer, and also with the Midnight Indexer to get updates from the blockchain. The Midnight Indexer and the Midnight Node are running outside of the player's computer, but there's no other server component, so the application is fully decentralized. Now let's have a look at how a game can be played. First, player 1 places the ships on the game board and then deploys the smart contract. The game is initialized in the constructor of the smart contract. Once player 1 gets the address of the smart contract, it can be shared with another player. This has to be done through chat or email or something similar. Player 2 places the ships on the game board and selects the first target to shoot at. Using the join game circuit on the smart contract, player 2 can start the game. Now the players take turns one after another. To take a turn, the shoot circuit is called on the smart contract. So every single shot is recorded on the blockchain. This repeats until one player has sunken all the ships of the enemy.
Let's have a look at a short demo. After logging in with his wallet into the tab, the user can create a new game. For this, he has first to place his board. The UI will show him which ship he has set and which he hasn't. And after he is happy with his setup, he can click next and start a new game. He will get a pop-up to sign the contract, and after that he has to wait a couple of minutes. When the contract is completely deployed on the Midnight blockchain, he will get the newly deployed address for the contract, which he now can send to a player which can join the game. Let's have a look at the perspective of player 2. First, he logs in as well with his Midnight wallet, and similar to player 1, he can set his board. When he's finished with this, he will use the address he got from player 1 to join the existing game. At this stage, he only has the public information of the contract and hasn't joined the game itself. For this, he has to do his first move and shoot at his opponent. After making his first move, he will get a pop-up from the Midnight Lace wallet to sign his entry to the game and his first move. The contract will now check his board if is everything correct, and he should be able to add to the Midnight contract. And it will also save the first move of player 2 to the contract. If the first move hit or not will be the job of player 1 to validate, which we will see in the next step. After player 2 joined the game and made his first move, player 1 will see that an opponent joined the game. What he also will see is the first move player 2 made, as you can see in the video with the little explosion symbol, because in this case it hit a ship on player 1. The job of player 1 is now to submit his own first move. For this, he can hit any field on the opponent's terrain. With submitting his own first move, he does two things. He validates that player 1 hit a ship on his own and saves his next move into the contract. After a really long and hard battle, the player who first sunk all of the opponent's ships will get awarded with this glorious winning screen.
Let's move on with our conclusions. How did we prevent cheating in the game? Thanks to the zero-knowledge Midnight technology, cheating should be very hard. But how did we achieve this? There are multiple ways to cheat. For example, a bad actor can try to modify his private ship state placement after some hits to prevent ships from being sunken. Our smart contract prevents this by using a hash of all ship coordinates combined with a random private key of the player as a public ledger state. The Midnight contracts make sure both values stay the same for every player. This also prevents users from impersonating another player. The private key acts additionally as a salt to prevent brute forcing the private state from the public key. Another way to cheat could be to place the ships outside of the board or in a strange position that is not anticipated. We validate the ship's position at the start of the game inside the Midnight contract to prevent this. A bad actor could also try to modify his local smart contract to execute another code. Lucky for us, the Midnight libraries already prevented this by default by checking if the contract keys matches the local ones. A thing we are unable to prevent is a rage quit from a player if he realizes he loses. The game would simply stall since one player do not call the contract anymore and the other player can simply do nothing about it. This was not possible to prevent at the moment. What are our wishes for the future of Midnight and the compact language? I think many people struggled with the fact that it created a common JS build. It would be great to have ESM support also in the future. since ESM is way better supported in the VIT bundler. It would be also great to have bigger contracts, since we hit a limit here. But this can also be that our code was simply too inefficient to run. We managed to get around this. For developers, it would be also great to have more code examples in the documentation, and also a way to output debug stuff like console log in JavaScript, directly out of Compact. We don't know if this is technically possible, but it would be a nice feature to debug. To conclude, we wrote 236 lines of Compact code, about 1,600 lines of TypeScript code, and now have a working prototype on the Midnight testnet. We also managed to get it running on our local network to make development a bit faster. It was overall a very fun experience, and we learned a lot on this project. Execution times were a bit long on the testnet, but let's hope they will be faster in the future. We are very proud of what we have achieved and that our first zero-knowledge based smart contract works fine. Now it's time for some Q&A.
Well done, guys. Thank you very much for your presentation. Is it me, or did I hear seagulls around?
Well, that weren't seagulls, but that was a squeaking chair. Sorry about that.
A squeaking chair. Understood. Thank you very much.
Close enough.
Close. No, actually, it was really realistic. I was thinking, like, oh, I see all these bubbles coming up, all these crashing emojis and stuff. I was like, is it seagulls or not? Just before the judges start asking a question, I just want to ask, getting ahead, and I know it was your first smart contract developed on ZK. So for those who might just gonna coming to Midnight or to our community, is there any advices that you could give to those new developers that wishes to start building on Midnight, whether they be a game or a platform? What would be your top 3 suggestions when it comes to it?
What really helped us was having a look at the examples that are out there already, so the code repositories. We were also using the official documentation a lot. That was really helpful, especially when you go into like the more nitty-gritty details of the data types and so on. And then, of course, there is also the Discord community, which was great to ask questions, and we also got a few answers there. So those would be the top 3 suggestions, I would say.
Understood. Thank you. Guys, anything from your side? I know you already received like massive amount of feedback and can't wait to say something, but anything you guys have any questions for our last team?
Yeah, that was a nice presentation. It was really good. What should our highest priority feature be for Compact or dev tooling around smart contract implementation to have made this easier for you?
I think the biggest roadblock we hit were the CommonJS modules that we had to integrate. We already mentioned that in the presentation, right? It would be really great to have ESM support. Because it was quite a hassle to get everything up and running at the beginning because of that.
Thanks for that feedback.
I have a question. At the start of the demo, when you were placing the ships, I saw that you were placing them and you didn't get a chance to rotate them. Was that by design? Or is that ability not there on the front end for you to like rotate the ships and place them how you please?
It is possible. You have a little button at the side that you can press to like rotate it. So you can rotate it there and then place it. And also if you have it placed, you can click the rotate button and then it will rotate.
Okay, cool. And when you were building this, if you could go back with the knowledge that you have now, what would you do differently?
I think we should have been started earlier with using a local network because it's much faster to deploy there and to run the midnight calls there. And yeah, that would be faster to develop because we had to always wait a few minutes until the calls are done. Also in the earlier phase where a lot of our calls fails because of our bugs and things. Yeah, it would be faster to have a local network running. Yeah, but it worked also with the testnet, so we got around that.
Okay.
Good job. Claude, Ron, any comments, any questions?
No question on my side. Thank you.
So no questions. Thanks for showing the architecture. I think it's important to understand. I'm not sure if it's really different from the other presentation we saw, but the fact that you're staging before you deploying the contract, was it was it the only way you find that you can work, or it's just a choice?
Do you mean that we place the ships before we deploy the
before
contract?
you start the game, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, in the first version of our contract, we were doing it like that. So we first deployed the contract and then placed the ships. But we just thought that this is a more efficient way. So you can deploy it and already place the ships of player one. So it also creates less costs on the blockchain later on. So that's why we went for that solution.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I definitely have lots of different choices to play in the Discord for this weekend. So for those who enjoy for some little small competition, can't wait to join. Thank you, Edix and the team. Great job. I hope you have a really great weekend. And just stay guys around if there is any community questions. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you. Well, that was our 4 hackathon participants. 4 the same challenge, but 4 different presentations. I'm sure everyone deserves a little bit of clap. So well done, every participant.
Yeah.
For those who join us today, for your hard work. Again, thank you, community, very much for helping our participants in any way they can, our team members. Just to be aware, everyone, that the winner of this Sea Battle Hackathon will be announced on Monday. So we as the judges have more time to dive in, discuss between us, and on Monday you will receive an email. So please sleep well. Do not wake up on Monday 6 a.m. and checking your emails and spamming or resetting and checking spam, but it will come. So I really hope if you are a winner, you'll let us know, make a huge shout out on Twitter, make a post. But regardless of that, whether you won or not, absolutely great job, everyone that you've done so far. And especially as you are community members, we can't wait to see whether your game will progress in the future. So I will definitely would like to make the future community calls like a full-fledged Sea Battle. So just so many memories. I used to play a lot whenever I was a kid. So well done, guys. And yeah, any last comments from you, judges?
Just well done. Really high quality submissions. Really impressive stuff, especially for the amount of time given over the holidays as well, over Christmas.
All the issues, all the
very impressive. Yeah, very impressive.
Kev, Claude, Ron.
I'm also really impressed. I mean, the platform is in early days, and so there are a lot of limitations, and I'm really surprised at what you've been able to do.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great. Ahmed, just before we conclude this, I know there is something else coming up very, very soon. Can you just let us know what we're expecting?
Yes, of course. So this concludes the Sea Battle Hackathon, and I'm sure many of you here have enjoyed submissions and want to get involved in the next one. And the good news is the next one is very soon. In fact, I can announce today that the next hackathon will open registration on February 3rd. I will send a registration link on Discord, and this theme, it's not game themed, it's themed around identity. So it's zero knowledge identity. Now, I know there's been a ton of hype and chatter around this since I actually first joined Midnight.
Yeah.
There's always people talking about how to prove the age of a person so they can get access to like things you can only sell to like people over 21 or whatever. How can you prove that someone is of a certain net worth so they get access to exclusive clubs? How can you prove all these different various unique propositions that come through? And this hackathon is especially for those guys. So we're really, really excited. The link to the landing page is now in the YouTube channel. There's a content YouTube channel. It will be on Discord. You can't register just yet. The registration will begin February 3rd. But we're announcing here today for those of you who are watching the stream as a sign of gratitude for joining. And now there's a cute QR code on the top right. So scan that to go to the landing page. And we look forward to as many of you joining as possible. Again, the prizes will be similar to this hackathon, which is 4,000 ADA first place, 2,000 ADA second place, and 1,000 ADA third place. So we're really looking forward to as many of you submitting your presentations as possible. This, as you can see, everyone who submitted a product today said it was tons of fun. So come get involved in the fun. We're really looking forward to it.
Actually, I can't wait to see about next hackathon. I mean, the battle was a nerve-wracking, but Identity is even bigger, and it's like you can build a lot of things, like a lot of different things. So can't wait. So guys, again, thank you, Ahmed, and the judges. So as a reminder, if you're rewatching this, make sure to leave a like, of course, leave a comment, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Discord, and more especially join our community, because on our community we also have a fireside dev hang on each Wednesday, if I'm said correctly, Ahmed.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Yes, where we inviting different team members to speak about ZK, speak about Midnight, about nodes, and even we inviting our community members that are actually building solutions already, whether that been from the hackathon or they are really working hard towards the next big project. So please join community, join our fireside dev hangs on Discord. And as I mentioned at the beginning, these community calls will be done twice a month. So if you are following us, you will hear about them first, especially if you follow us on Twitter and all the social media channels. But again, thank you guys very much for those who have participated. Thank you very much, judges, and more than thank you for our community members to make this happen. We have a bunch of viewers, so let's hope the next our hackathon community call will be even bigger. Have a nice, happy Friday, and have a nice weekend. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.